Alrighty, welcome everybody to the Ortelius General Community Meeting on November 15th. I don't have the doc right in front of me, but I'll get to it. So just some updates. So last week was the Linux Foundation membership summit. And some of the things that came out of it, Tracy and I were able to meet with the lead developer from the Kepton project. And so there's two of them, but both of them were from Kepton. And that was interesting. They have a new release of Kepton that they put out on as a demo for KubeCon. And what they've done is they've restructured Kepton to only live inside of Kubernetes. So it's a total CRD based solution. And what it does is it's going to trap all of the messages that are happening inside of Kubernetes. So for example, if you go and do a deployment, Kubernetes sends out a message saying I'm doing a deployment, and Kepton will go and capture that and allow you to run a pre-action to the deployment. So like one of the things you could do is check to make sure you got enough resources scaled before the deployment happens. And if it doesn't happen, you can stop it or you can continue on. One of the nice things that they were telling us that we'll be able to do is have a global listener for post deployments, and that's where we'll hook Ortelius into. So we'll be able to capture any deployment without anybody having to update their pipeline or anything like that. So, and what they'll do is when that post deployment happens, we'll get notified of the containers that were updated, so which pods were updated, as well as what they call an application. So they're introducing an application concept as well to kind of associate all the services to an application. So that was good news that we'll be able to drop that in place and be able to capture that stuff without having anybody to update anything on their pipeline side. So we don't have to worry about updating Jenkins files to capture deployments or anything like that. We'll be able to do it all from the cluster side. Now this is on a cluster by cluster basis. So if you have like Uber, where they have 250 production clusters just to run their stuff, it's going to be in every single cluster we'll be getting information back from. We will need to do some changes on our REST API side, I think, to handle the payload that we're going to get from Kepton at that level. So we will have some coding changes, but it looks good. It is not in production yet, but we can actually go and try it if we want. They said the repo is public for us to start playing with it.
Is that the lifecycle toolkit?
I don't know what they're calling it.
I'll post this. I'm going to post this URL here. See if it's the same thing.
It could be. It sounds like it is.
Yeah, I posted in the channel, in the Zoom channel.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick.
It's called the Kepton Lifecycle Toolkit.
Yes, this looks like it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the way they're doing is by a bunch of this is exactly it. So they're doing a bunch of annotations in the manifest files to be able to capture this stuff. And looking through this, they talk about Prometheus and OpenTelemetry. So the way we may need to do some stuff around OpenTelemetry. I don't know yet, but they were talking that they basically are getting rid of their GUI and using Grafana and OpenTelemetry to kind of visualize what's happening at that level. So we may need to do some investigation on OpenTelemetry just for us to grab some more information from. But that is the one, and from what I understand, we can go ahead and install that, and it should get up and going. On that note, I have been reworking the Helm charts and some of the GitHub actions. So basically what I've been doing the last week or so is pulling out the Google Cloud build and replacing it with GitHub actions and going through and making sure the GitHub actions are actually creating the right Helm index.yaml. This is what you ran into, Sasha. I think I have it all pretty much plugged together, so things should be being pushed to Artifact Hub clean now. So your Ortelius in the box should be able to pull everything from Artifact Hub pretty clean.
Oh, nice, thanks.
We will need to, we'll need to figure out how to pass a couple of parameters to your Terraform. There's some things that we need to pass, like a JWT key, and some of the secrets, like what you ran into, the secrets around the database connection, those type of things.
So I just pre-created those with a kubectl command in the Terraform, so it's all automated.
Okay,
so what
perfect.
It does is it sets up that secret before it gets to the Ortelius component. It just creates that secret, and I just went by the variables that it was responding to.
Perfect.
That fixed that. It's just the last bit I'm not too sure how to fix is the JWT thing. I think I'm just going to need your help with that.
Yeah, there's a OpenSSL command that you run, and I would imagine in your Terraform you'd have access to OpenSSL.
Yeah, you have access to pretty much anything. It's pretty amazing, actually.
All right, hang on, guys. I'm gonna turn off. It looks like I'm connected through my Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna turn it off and break everything. All right, that's why we're having a delay. Okay, hopefully I'm still here. So on that front, the cleanup's coming along pretty well on the repos and stuff. I did take Ben Poe's Node.js script and I updated it to make it so what happens is we go out and grab all the charts from all the microservices, bring them together and create a main with a sub chart update, and then from there that goes off and creates the index.yaml and stuff. So all of that's plumbed together and working well. Any questions on like the captain or the chart cleanup?
So how communication will happen with captain? So since captain is going inside Kubernetes, right?
Yeah, it looks like so the way they were describing the communication on the captain side is we would do a like a post deployment hook, and that would run a container, it sounds like, or TypeScript. It was hard to figure out, but it runs a command line program or a container. And that's where we would go ahead and probably use our CLI, our Python CLI, to be able to post details back over to through our REST APIs. Or we may just, instead of doing the CLI, we may just extend, create a microservice that will understand how to accept the kept-in payload and just handle it on the server side. Then that may be the easier way to go. I haven't looked at the code base yet for kept-in to see what the details are, but I'll make sure that we create an issue around that and are able to track it.
Okay, sounds good.
My guess is we would probably lean towards just creating another microservice to listen to that. So we make the configuration side, really simple. Basically, here's our URL that you need to kind of forward on the payload to. Just basically a little forwarding program. So that will simplify what people need to do on the Skeptin configuration side. Alrighty, so let's go on to the blockchain side. So on that front, I don't see him here. There's we had our architecture meeting. We need to work on some of the more of the issues around the NFT storage. I'm gonna have to reach out to, and I might ask some other folks to reach out to a couple people that are working on issues that we haven't seen updates in the last week or two, to see if they're able to complete them. If not, we'll have to hijack those issues so we can keep things moving along. The two main ones or there's three main ones. One is the CVE database, another one is the license database, and the third one is the transposing of the SBOM JSON, so we can get that part sorted out. So those are like the three main issues that we have in the pipeline that we need to kind of get wrapped up. Also on the blockchain side, Tracy found a new contributor. He is from Kyiv, Ukraine, and I believe you saw his Git. He came through Discord last week. I think he goes by Nick, N-I-K maybe, or Neek. I'm not 100% sure on how he pronounces his name, but I did go through and work with him to add him to the Ortelius repo. What he specializes in is UX and UI design, and I think based on what we need to do on the blockchain side, there's two aspects of it. One is taking like a component version, because we have all these versions of components that we're creating, being able to navigate those and the relationships to the application versions, and just getting all that data so it's easy to kind of search and display. I think the component version with all the boxes that we have is laid out well. It's just the list view that we need some work on. So that's one aspect of it that he's going to take a look at. And then also a time series type of look. If you look at a component or an application, how it's changed over time. And the blockchain is going to have that in the ledger, our time series. So it's just a matter of how we're going to want to navigate that through the UI. So he does UI design, but not the coding. So we'll still have issues to do the actual coding piece. Once we figure out what it looks like, then we'll figure out, how we want to implement that going forward, in bringing it into the existing UI. So I have to create a couple issues on that front around the UX design to make sure that things are moving along on that front. So we stay busy, because we're going to kind of attack from both ends. So we'll have the back end piece, the NFT storage and the ledger, and that piece coming together, but also we'll need to address the front end side to make sure that we're able to visualize the data that we're capturing at that level. We'll probably have to have a couple design discussions around that on what we want to kind of put in for requirements. I'll get a starting point, but we'll definitely need to kind of evolve that to make sure we got the right requirements in place. before we get too far along on that front. Also, I still have to figure out the payment process for the blockchain piece. Right now, I may just use Wise and just pay everybody from Deploy Hub directly instead of going through the crowdfunding part of Linux, the Linux Foundation. I was hoping to meet with the people last week from the Linux Foundation around that, but there's nobody from the CDF that came to that in-person meeting. So things are kind of a little, I got to track that down. But the short term, what I may do is just go ahead and use wise.com and pay everybody directly from that. I'll let you know. I'll try to get that sorted out by the end of the week so we can get money going out to folks that have closed their issues and stuff. Any questions on the blockchain piece? Everybody
Sounds
good?
good. Sounds good.
Cool. Trying to think what else was on the list. Tracy, was there anything else? Anybody know anything I'm missing?
You are good.
Yes, let me just give a quick update of what happened at the OpenSSF. We did meet with VMware. They are still looking at potentially becoming a user, as well as Red Hat. So we have continued those conversations. So that's exciting. We also had some interest from Dell. So I'm going to reach out with Dell. I met their CTO and we're going to have a chat with him as well. Eloise from the Captain group, he does want to meet with our team and kind of go over what we're doing. So we need to do a follow-up with that, probably do that in the early part of the beginning of next year. So all those were good things. We had, I think it was a really good conference for us to be at because we did get to meet and face-to-face a lot of folks we've been working with for some time. The other thing that I did is I reached out to the folks from Rody who are managing Backstage, and I sent an email. We scheduled a follow-up call with their CTO. She's going to just kind of take a look at what we're doing and give us some ideas of if we could potentially have a plugin from Backstage. So there's a handful of you that show up to the architecture meetings that I invited to that call. We may, I don't know if we want to pursue that. We have a lot on our plate, but we may want to go ahead if it's something we can do, create a project out there in case somebody wants to take it on.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting way to pull data.
I'll definitely take on that project if there's one. Because I'm having so much fun with Ortelius in a box.
Eloise,
it would fit right in too.
Yeah, I think it would fit right in.
It would. Yeah, it would. And Eloise also, when he was going over how Captain, some of the changes, they do have information that we could pull from Captain to populate components and applications, what Steve likes to call version 0 or version 1. So we need to continue working on making it easier to adopt Ortelius and integrating to Backstage, as well as integrating to the underlying pieces that Captain's doing. Those are really good ways for us to help with the adoption. I apologize, Sasha. I said I was going to send you a test document. I just didn't get it done before we left. I'm going to have Steve review it just to make sure it's as accurate as possible. And I'll get it off to you and Siddharth. Siddharth's going to work with it at NatWest as well.
Okay, cool.
On the December 14th, our holiday gathering, we have 2 talks. We're still short. So anybody who's interested in presenting, please let me know. And the elections for the board went out, so please get that off your plate. It's open until December 7th. giving us enough time to announce who the new board is for the December 14th event.
Like that
So I
tool you
think,
used for the voting. That was cool.
yeah, it was better than the other one we used. It cost a little bit. It was like $30, but it didn't seem, it seemed like it was a much cleaner and easier way to manage it.
No, it worked really well. Huh? It was so nice.
OpenVote.
Yeah. Very good.
I had asked some of the folks at the Linux Foundation, and they had suggested we just look at OpenVote. They said it was easier. So I did not dig that up on my own.
No.
And then there was one other thing. I can't remember. We did. I did send a finalized blog on Hacktoberfest to the CD Foundation. Hopefully, they will be sharing that. And I continue. I'll be updating some social media cards. Utkar has signed up to take on the talk on XRP Ledger to give us an update of where we're at. So we just have 2 more presentations we need to find presenters for. So if anybody here wants to present, please do.
Oh, and that reminds me, on the XRPL, I did submit our report to the Ripple folks. Our status update, basically. It wasn't a big deal.
Oh, cool. I also tried to get 10 free JetBrains licenses for developers in Ortelius. Yeah, you can get free licenses, but they said I didn't do enough commits. So I need Steve or someone to do that. I thought I'd just have a go, right? It's really easy to fill in. It was so easy. So if you don't mind, I'd try to get 10 licenses for us, because the JetBrains full version is super posh. It's so nice, and they support open source projects.
Cool.
I'll put it here quickly in the WebEx. Not the WebEx, Zoom. I figured it was about 10 people would be covered, right?
Yeah.
Would be enough people. I sort of counted on my fingers a bit. But they get back to you like quick. Yeah.
What was the commit count that they were looking for?
I can tell you exactly. Let me get my email open here. They said I didn't do enough. They say we can only provide free licenses to active committers. A requester has to consistently contribute to the project for the past few months, or be in the top 3 contributors for the past year. That was the criteria.
Okay.
Yeah, which I was like, fair enough. Sometimes your stuff you're working on is not always in the Ortelius, in the toilet, but it's like, fair enough. They have to have some sort of process, right? Otherwise, everybody will be claiming free licenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I will keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get your commits up.
Steve, I think your mic has gone funny.
Oh, I'm talking through Tracy's mic.
Insane, right?
Is it the Bluetooth?
And we are in 2 different rooms.
Sounded like I was like, Steve's gone really far away.
Yeah.
That's why I keep putting mine on mute.
Can you mute Steve when you want?
I should. And sometimes when he gets super gets in a technical conversation, he can get really loud. And so I'll be able to call, and somebody's like, who's talking next to you? It's like, nobody, he's in a different room altogether, and it picks it up. You know why? It's because, okay, if I put my microphone right here, I think it knows what to pick.
Well, you can still hear me.
Yeah, wow, that works.
You can still hear me now, a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I wanted to ask a question. It might be a repeat question. I was wondering, what topics are allowed for the talks? Like, what are the topic areas?
Let me give you some examples. I sent an email out, but let me read them to you. Let me find it.
It's basically.
Okay, so and understanding the data that Ortelius gathers, I thought would be an interesting one. We're starting to gather more and more data, especially around like at a component level, the Swagger information, the README information, the SBOM, how we gather the CVE information, how I implemented Ortelius, common use cases for using a central service catalog. What's a logical application in a decoupled cloud native environment, or any topic that makes you happy? Here, I'll put these in the chat real quick. That's what I had sent out. Joseph, did you get that email? You should have.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I send it, when I send out, I send it out to the Ortelius Google group.
Okay.
So make sure that you're getting emails from the Ortelius Google group, because that's where the vote went out to as well.
Yeah, I received the vote. I have to go through the previous message with those ones.
When you got the email for the vote, when I told everybody we were going to do the vote, I sent it out. So when the vote went out, you got everybody got a specific invite. So make sure you're getting emails from me. Yeah, look to see if you got something from Tracy at Deploy Hub. And it should be coming, you should be getting it through the Google group.
Okay.
And you were definitely in there because I checked to make sure. I did, because you're in both groups. You're in the XRP group and the Ortelius group, and so that's why I know that your name was in the.
Yeah, I'm getting.
Yeah, you may be going to spam.
I'm actually getting both, and
Great.
It's not in spam. So yeah. Okay, and when are the talks due? Say.
So December 14th is you have a month, basically, to get it recorded. We try to get them done. I would say we want to get them all uploaded and ready to be staged by the 12th of December, which is that Monday.
Okay. All right.
And if you, as soon as you decide which one you want to do, I will update the blog so that your information's on there, and I'll get you a social card. Udkarsh just yesterday signed up to do the XRPL update. So that just leaves us 2 more. And if we only have 1 more, that's fine too. But it'd be good to have at least 1 more.
Okay. All right.
And I sent out an email to the board too and said, hey, board members, if you're not presenting, it might be good to do so. And I believe that Siddharth wants to get somebody from NatWest to do a presentation. So that would be our so Joseph, if you take one and Siddharth takes one, we'll be good.
Okay. I'll take a look at the topics and find the one that I'm really interested in.
Or one that you find that you would want to do. Those are just suggestions you can do, and we don't limit you to any topic. If you want to take on a topic around Kubernetes or anything like that, you certainly can.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right, guys, I got to jump.
Bye, guys.
Bye.